hear about Frédéric PUJOL for an IDATE insight, and Frédéric is the head of the wireless business unit at IDATE, of course.
Thank you, Marjorie. Good morning. So my introduction will focus on the challenges for telcos who are faced with the great digital shakeup. We've seen with the presentation from IBM this morning that technology is a main game changer. So how telcos are going to adapt to this. So the first challenge is to meet customer demands in terms of bandwidth. It has been reminded a minute ago. As data traffic is expected to more than double between now and 2019. A second challenge is increasing competition. And in Europe, we also see flat revenues for telcos. And there are also many regulatory constraints. So telcos 2.0 will have to face challenges in order to adapt and evolve their networks. But they are able to achieve some savings with the softwareization of their networks and optimization technologies. And beyond the access and the wholesale markets, from today, they should also be able to generate additional revenues with digital services and big data. So let's have a look at the evolution of the fixed and mobile networks. So the priority for telecom operators is to deploy super fast broadband networks in fixed access and continue to deploy mobile broadband with LTE advanced technology. In fixed networks, super fast technologies represented close to 38% of broadband access subscription at the end of last year, and it represents more than 8 points more than 1 year before. And we see contrasted situation in Europe regarding the technologies choice by operators, whatever FTTH, FTTB, FTTN, FTTX, DOCSIS 3.0. Regarding mobile networks, 4G LTE adoption is much quicker than the earlier migration between 2G and 3G. And we can see, even in Europe, that 4G enable operators to generate more revenues. In terms of LTE subscriptions, USA, China, and Japan led the pack last year, followed by South Korea. But China became the first country for 4G subscription at the mid of this year, with more than 240 million subscriptions for 4G. You were talking about 5G. There is a real push coming from Asia, and there are already many announcements with the first 5G networks or elements of networks announced for 2018 in South Korea for the Winter Olympic Games and 2020 in Japan for the Summer Games. But really, we do not expect very significant 5G deployments before the standard is fully ready in 2019. But we've seen earlier this week forecast from your competitor Ericsson announcing, I think it's 150 million 5G subscription in 2021. So it's going really quickly in this field. Let's have a look now at real transformations in the way telcos will operate their networks. So they are preparing for the transition to virtualized network architecture. And they are now starting to implement SDN and NFV, software-defined networking and network function virtualization. Today in the world, AT&T and Deutsche Telekom seem to be the most advanced telcos for SDN and NFV implementation. Network slicing for 5G on the right figure here, you were mentioning it. So it will enable to optimize virtualized network, both core and radio network. A network slice, it will be a dedicated logical network which will serve specific customer functionalities. And this will be hosted on a common infrastructure with other slices. So you can see here various slices for autonomous driving with very stringent requirements on latency, for instance, and another slice for mobile broadband, the evolution of mobile broadband, for instance, for HD video with other requirements on bandwidth. So network slicing will enable telcos to adapt to vertical sector requirements and should help them to achieve significant economies of scale. So this will enable to find new business models for telcos and to enable verticals to innovate in terms of services. With next generation networks, telcos will be able to differentiate with quality of service, priority management, monthly caps, and bundles. And this will accelerate service creation and cooperation with third parties. Let's have a look now at the how to optimize the existing telecom networks. So this optimization is necessary to face the ever-increasing data traffic. There are many software solutions which are available to operators in order to improve quality of experience. These technologies and software relate to OSS, BSS, video optimization, the cloud, Wi-Fi for offloading of mobile traffic, and also in backhauling. These technologies will enable operators to capitalize on a two-sided model. First, they can generate savings compared to their current operation in better managing traffic flows. And then they will also create new revenue streams through tier pricing and by selling the data which is traveling over their networks. Implementation of cloud computing is also a priority for telcos, and this is a real transformation into a cloudified, virtualized, and software-based networks. Let's have a look now at the opportunities digital services represent for telcos. So here we present our market sizing for digital opportunities for telcos. And you can see there is a focus on 5 major subsegments, which are machine-to-machine, cloud services, video and digital content, financial services, and advertising. Today, digital services represented at the end of last year only 4% of telco revenues, but they are growing and mainly coming today from payment intermediation in emerging countries, like in Africa, and from traditional IT services. We expect that these revenues will grow from 50 billion euros last year to 100 billion euros in 2018, and mainly the revenues will be mainly coming from Internet of Things and OTTs, and this would represent up to 8% of telco revenues then. With the development of big data techniques and applications, telco can now generate new revenues, and they can also achieve saving on their operations. The main applications here are based on internal data, such as location data, network logs, user consumption logs, machine-to-machine traffic, and customer profiles. In addition, telcos will be also able to sell and to provide intermediary services to third parties, enabling them to provide the results of the data analytics. Big data for telco initiatives are still limited in numbers today. It's only starting, but only a few large telcos have decided to invest in these platforms and to take up the challenge of big data. But on the other hand, big data providers will also need to show clear return on investments for this big data. This concludes my introduction, and if you wish to get more detailed information on the topics I shortly addressed today, please have a look on our publication. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much.